Oh, good. All right, my friend, today we're gonna learn backside flips, but even if you're just someone who has them, this video is gonna help you improve them a bit, because the truth is I don't have them the best I can, and there's always room for improvement. So first things first, when I think about improving a trick, I kind of break it down into its fundamental tricks. So for a backside flip, it'd be, you know, obviously a kick flip and then a back 180. So the biggest things to consider is that even though it's skate math and you're applying it to, it's its own completely different trick. But there are things you can reference, right? So what I mean by that is when you go for the flick on a backside flip, it's not the same because your body is turning as you flick, and so it's real easy to wrap your, you know, leg around the board for the board to wrap around your leg, or for you just to lose confidence because you're going backside. And so because of these things, you want to build confidence in your flick with a kick flip and going backside on, you know, a backside flip. So you want to make sure you're warmed up, and if you already have backside flips, back 180s, warm up your flick. You see, my flick is not good right now. Like the snap, it's not working at the moment. So before I even go for backside flips, or at least practice them, or in your case, if you're learning them, and if you're going about learning them, you know, just dialing in, you want to make sure things are feeling smooth as far as like your pop, your flick, and so just give yourself time to dial that in. Okay, that's better. Okay, those are better. So back 180s. If I'm doing a back 180 like this, you can get away with a backside flip, but the point is it's going to be very inconsistent, and when you go to flip it, it's just not really likely to be consistently under you. So you want to make sure you're relying on a solid pop. And so having said that, when you're doing back 180s or warming up with them, try to actually give them the pop you would need to do a backside flip, so that when you go for it, you can reference those two things, you know, a solid flick and a solid back 180. And you know what you have to work out is how to put them together. So I'm gonna go for, let's say, just 5 and see how they are, and then kind of talk about what are some things that you might be experiencing that are kind of frustrating, and then some things that can help you improve them if you're someone who already has landed a few or even has landed a lot. Okay, that one over rotated. For one, talk about that. You can see I'm still like getting stuck where I need to be, like turning my full body to basically like where the pole's at. So let's try to do that. It keeps over rotating, so it's real easy to get frustrated when something isn't working. But instead of getting frustrated, you want to ask the question, why is it over rotating? Am I winding up too quick? Am I popping too hard? Is my back foot in the right position? You want to start to ask. So because I asked those questions, I'm gonna put my back foot a bit closer to the center instead of having it here. I think that's where I had it, and wind up a bit slower. So not be so quick with the wind up. That one didn't over rotate, which is good. I just didn't give it a solid pop. So
your hips.
Yeah, what? Oh yeah, I didn't get low. I didn't get low enough to get a solid pop. So now I need to be intentional about engaging myself before I even go for the wind up or the pop. That was like a solid pop, but I flicked it too much. I was too confident on the pop that the flick just went too fast. Wow, I need to land it. You see? It's also good to note that I do have a different shape board, so it's kind of throwing me off, but no excuse. It's just something to consider, like I always want to mention. A big problem for me, and the reason why I'm always like there's always room for improvement, is I've found that when I try them off of stuff, they're a bit easier, and that's just because I'm not really intentional about the engagement, where if I go off of something and as long as it's kind of over me, I can still get away with not, you know, popping so solidly or flicking so great. So I just want to show you guys one off of this. So the biggest thing with me at the moment is that I'm not getting a solid pop. So the flick isn't even that hard, I'm realizing, but because I don't get good pops, the flick is being able to influence the board a bit more, and so, or it's having more of an impact on the board. Whereas if I were to just to get a solid pop and that flick is consistent like that, it would match, you know, it would be syncing up. So let's see if I can be a bit more effective with the pop and how that, you know, how that affects this. So that one, you guys can see, like, I actually was a bit more engaged with it, and so that's what I want to make sure I do on flat ground. So we're just gonna land one and then go back to flat, because we're not trying to battle it out here. The purpose of this is to improve a backside flip, is not to land it off of anything, right? So you want to, again, be intentional about what the goal is, and allow the process to meet that goal. You know, it's a bit contradicting because I've mentioned focus on the process, but in this case we have a specific goal, like, you know, landing or improving a backside flip. So here we go. That one like stayed with me longer than I thought.
This kind of shows like the difference between improving and learning, because when you're learning, you're probably not gonna get to this kind of thing of like, or you're jumping off something to improve on the flat.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're learning, yeah, it could be a similar approach. It's more of, because, you know, you've heard people, oh, I'm gonna try it off of something because I get more airtime. Like, that's okay, but what I find is once someone lands it off of something, they forget about coming to the flat ground, back to the flat ground, and making sure they're doing it at the most fundamental level and not relying on the, you know, that air time. Because at the end of the day, the better you have it on flat is the better you're gonna have it off of stuff. And I've learned that with tricks like hard flip, double tray flip, and like ghetto bird. Because before, when I was like almost 10 years into skateboarding, the only way I could do those three tricks were off of something. But I've learned that that's not very sustainable, and the best thing I could do for myself is practice them on flat, so that when I try them off of something, I feel more confident. And so that's the idea behind, you know, not relying on your airtime or a different obstacle to do it, or a cheat code, but more just using it to assist you in the actual goal of landing it at its most simple form on flat ground. So we're not going to get stuck here, but this is, you know, just a tool. I'm approaching this obstacle as a tool, yeah, to give me context on how to improve. All right, so that one I did not pop, and like usually I would get so frustrated because this is a trick I've done down this stair set like first try, or done into manis, and you know, it makes me feel, at times I felt how do you say, entitled to tricks. But it's important that every day it has this different context. So some days you might be tired, some days you might not have a good setup, whatever it may be, you know, it's still an opportunity to improve in its own little way. But full disclosure, in a day like this where I feel kind of off, I wouldn't really be practicing this too much. But for the sake of the video, we're doing this. But I'm not saying you can't either. Just giving some context, okay? Okay. So you guys can see that I landed a bit like extended. I didn't really, like all that impact went to my ankles. And so I want to work on landing lower. So because I found that out, I'm gonna practice engaging, you know, from the roll in to the roll away, where I stay a bit lower, closer to the board. Alright, so that one, now the pop is a bit more effective, but I still need to sync up that pop to the spin for that wind up. So when you're learning this trick, a big mistake is kind of doing this movement too fast, that wind up, and that's gonna have your board going all over the place and sometimes even wrapping around that front foot. And if that's happening, you just want to slow it down. Understand that as long as you go from point A to point B, the board's gonna follow. You got to be very smooth with the power, with how you know, how you express that power when you're trying to get the board to spin.
You know the difference is the hips. That one.
No, I know, but this part is what I was focusing on. What do you mean the hips though?
The hips allowed you to make you turn straight, because the other ones you were turning but going forward. You know what I mean? You would do this.
But you see,
forward.
Right, but that's because this thing was throwing me forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the hips, like whenever we talk about just the hips or the shoulders, they have to work together. So one can't work without the other, but the focus might be a bit different. So right now, what I'm trying to explain to Brian, but he has a, like, he's right. I was going from here to here. That was where what my body was doing. But what it needed to do was stay over the board and stay in the same place. Like pretend there's an imaginary line. That's where I needed to stay. You think that makes sense? Or should I clarify it? Okay. So, but that also leads me to another thing that a lot of skaters do is when they're winding up, they lean too far forward, and when they turn, they're throwing themselves forward instead of making sure they use their hips to get lower so that they wind in and they're still over the board as they wind in. So that's pretty much what you're saying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So like, it's super important that you understand everything is working together. But if you're paying attention to one thing, don't let it take out the engagement of another part of your body that you need. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple more. Yeah, so now if like, even though it wasn't clean,
did you land manual?
Yeah, no, I just landed like weird. But even though I didn't land it good, the board stayed under me, and I really believe it's because I was able to get a bit lower comfortably. And so that's why I emphasized in the beginning, you might want to just warm up with a back 180, kickflip, make sure those things are dialed in so that you get your best chances to, you know, sync everything up. Laters, bro. So you have the ability to sync both those tricks, or at least reference them when you're learning a new one. Okay, right here. Oh, that was horrible. I like pop from here instead of here.
Oh.
That was just like and it's good to notice these things because you don't want to get too caught up on these like they're not one-off mistakes. They happen a lot, or they have happened a few times. But I've seen so many skaters get so frustrated when something like that happens, when it's not something that you should give so much energy to in the form of frustration. You just need to laugh at it and just fix how do you say it? Like readjust yourself, okay? Okay, same thing. I was too quick. I was too quick with the wind up. It's just gonna go slow. But that pop was good.
I feel like that one you focused on your hips and less on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah. Okay, everything needs to work together, so. All right.
That was pretty good.
So that was good, but I always talk about making sure you're looking at where you're going. So the intention, because I'm getting a bit consistent with this approach, is to make sure that I'm staying opened up to the direction I'm going. So because I'm turning backside 180, I'm opened up, and then as I land, I want to make sure my torso is slightly opened up to, let's say, the pole. So we're gonna focus on that. Maybe you want to go on that side so you can see how my body rotates. Cool. Let's see what I mean. Oh my God, rolled ankle, just like that. All right, so that one wasn't a smooth one, but the intention was there. When I go up, it's important I'm not focused at where I started off from, but instead of where I'm going, because it allows you to stay centered over that lead foot. When I'm going, you know, when I'm approaching the backside flip, I'm on the lead foot. When I pop, land, if I open up to the direction I'm going, it's gonna be easier for me to be over that lead foot. So lead foot right now is left side, and lead foot when I land is my right. And so that means I want to be opened up over that left side when I start, and then as I'm turning, open up over that right side. Okay, here we go. You see, like,
yeah,
I got stuck. I couldn't land and I couldn't open up, and that just means there's room for improvement. Okay, it doesn't mean you can't ever land a backside flip like that. It just means there's room for improvement, and that's the point. But if you're someone who's just learning this, it's super important that you're prioritizing this and not being okay with just landing a backside flip like that, right? You want to make sure you're building a strong foundation, right, when you're learning tricks. And in order to do that, it will help you, it will serve you if you pay attention to those things, like staying over the lead foot and opening up to the direction you're going. Okay, cool. Okay, my friend. Okay. Oh, you see, closed off completely. Even if I landed, I would have just, that's okay. I don't need to get frustrated. I need to reset. A big mistake a lot of you do with learning new tricks is doing this exactly. You just stay there. Oh, try it. And then they go. No. And then they go again. And then they'll take a break, drink some water, and they don't even know that that little break allowed them to give themselves an honest try. And just get a bit closer, and if not, it just gives them more, it gives them the ability to continue, to reset, the opportunity to reset and continue. And so instead of waiting for yourself to get frustrated, you might want to think, how about I just give myself some time between the tries. Okay? So that's exactly what I'm doing. Breathe in and out through your nose. Go back down. Okay, that was all bad. Okay, a big thing that just came to mind is you want to make sure you're consistently flicking from the same spot, because if you're just moving it up and low, it's going to be very inconsistent, and the more consistent you are with your approach, the better, the easier it's going to be to actually identify what's not working for you. But if you're always switching things, you know, every other try or every try, it's going to be super hard to understand why you can't even land a trick. So we're going to land a good one on flat ground. And how many minutes?
20.
Okay, and we're going to give it 5 tries on the stairs. Not promising anything, but we're going to try it. Okay? Okay.
Oh.
Okay, I landed with my toes off. So that's something else we can improve. There's always a room to improve. There's always ways to make things better, okay? Never be satisfied, even with your most dialed in tricks. Unless you're someone like Dylan Jeb, then just be happy with the way you do it, with the way you skate. I'm just kidding, okay. Toes were on the board at all times, but right there I could have opened up a bit more. So it's not things to be super frustrated about. They're just things you can incorporate to your approach to learning this backside flip or improving it. It applies either way, okay? You can also learn a backside flip by doing cheat codes and trying it on a pyramid, you know, doing little flicks. You can learn it in many different ways, but if you're looking for an effective, or if you're trying to be effective with your approach and have that sustain, you know, the trick off of different obstacles, then it's best that you learn them with a good foundation. So having said that, we're gonna do it off this, and then you gotta be confident we're gonna do it. But I'm only gonna give myself 5 tries because I'm pretty tired. I'm sore, and I still need a lot of skating to do. So
I stay up here or down there?
I'm thinking you could stay right here.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you can see it, right?
Yeah.
Or you want to follow me or what?
Nah, I'm just staring.
What do you guys think? Comment first tee or what? What do you guys think? What do you think? First tee or what try? Comment. Let's ask Cruz. Cruz, how many tries you give me? Backside flip. Oh, he believes in me.
First try, you said?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Damn, you popped that one.
I got so close to the rim. I know.
The wind moved you in the
No,
air.
it was the wind's fault. Come on, guys. That try didn't count. Yeah, right here. Damn, I actually approached it confidently. Oh, wow.
It turned gray.
Okay, I got thrown off because of the light. But hey, that pop was good, huh? The back of it.
Yeah.
That didn't count as a try. I got 4 more tries.
That was crazy.
Oh.
You're probably too tense.
You know what it is?
You need to shake.
Yeah, I'm too tense. I like feel like this as I'm rolling up. Alright. Wow.
What happened?
Yeah, that was pretty much 2 tries. 3rd time's the charm. Yeah, I think if I just stick this one, I'm gonna call it.
Alright.
But here's an honest try. Alright, my landing cruise is on SPLAY.
was gonna make him want to try it again. That's it?
Nah, that one actually came to my feet. Okay, this one. Alright, let's try it. I only got one more try, my friends. It's okay.
Damn. Yeah, he's trying it again.
No. No.
That's it?
Okay, the inner ego told me to try it one more time. Last one.
Alright, he's got it done.
It's kind of heavy, like the board. I can't figure out the right pot.
So I haven't.
So I'm gonna try one more. Last one, last one. This is it. Let's take it.
Oh.
I like it. Yeah, it doesn't stay with me. Okay, last one for sure.
Oh my god. That was a good try.
That was dangerous.
Yeah.
One more try, one more try. That was really dangerous. I knew it just like be. Need to stick it. Last one, for real.
Engage. Oh! It's not the last one. Now after that, trying.
It's kind of too heavy.
The board?
Yeah, like I did engage, but I don't feel it like the catch. Alright, that's gonna be it. Always room to improve. Even if you learn the trick, it's not gonna be perfect, but practice makes better, not perfect. We don't want perfection. We want fun. We want progression. And if you're perfect with the tricks, there's no room for progressions. But there's always room for progression. So having said that, consider these. Is that like the stairs?
And it was one last try.
One last try? What do you mean?
Either you get it or you don't. I'm gonna just end the video.
Yeah, so it's okay. Live to fight another day. But the important thing you want to consider from this is these are tools staying over the lead foot, opening up to the direction you're going, making sure you can you're warmed up, dialed in with ollies, back 180s, kick flips. Not getting frustrated with the simplest of mistakes, making sure you're consistent with your approach so that you can identify what's not working and identify and adjust. But yes, having said that, hope you liked the video. Let me know what other tricks you want me to cover and try out this set. If you want me to land this, comment. You gotta land it, bro. Maybe I'll start off the next video, or not next video, but one of the videos with backside flip. And yeah, if you're interested in coaching or lessons, hit me up at profe.carlos. Check out these shoes from SPLAY. Pretty sick. And some Dagger boards. Yeah, links are in the description. And now, hope you have a great day. Peace. That was